Folks, today we have a 1996 Honda Street V, Honda Acty van. This has got the four-wheel drive, got all the cool stuff on it. But we're going to do some general maintenance on this today. So a couple things that you're going to need. We've got full synthetic 5W30 motor oil. These take 1030 or 530 if it's cold. 1030 is really probably okay year-round. The manual says it goes to 0 degrees Celsius. But I've got 530 with me, so that's what we're going to use, and it's wintertime. We've got genuine Honda oil filter. There's the part number if you need it. Oil filter wrench. We've got a socket and socket wrench, and the drain plug actually takes a 17, believe it or not. I've got some other filters, some other things. We'll do those later, but right now we're doing the oil change. So we'll take a quick look here around the car. One thing to note, of course, the Honda's engine is in the rear, and if you are needing to check your oil, right here on the, I guess, left rear, there is a dipstick. It is threaded because it's, right here by the wheel. So you unthread that, check it. It is very, very small, super easy to do. Make sure you thread that back tight once it's there. The other thing that you're going to want to know is to fill the oil, you're going to use this tank here, which is actuated by pulling that lever there. It opens up, and that's where you're going to put your oil. Something you can see, I've got the back of the carpet pulled up. To do that, there are 4 screws, and there's a nice little trim bar. Take those off. You pop these up, and then you can peel your carpet just straight back. You don't need to do this to change your oil. I just have this guy. I recently got the van. I just wanted to take a look, make sure that everything was okay. There weren't any leaks or anything like that, and everything looks great on this van. So what we'll go ahead and do is I'm going to get this up in the air and drain the oil, and we will go from there. All right, so I've already gone ahead and gotten this loose, and this is going to empty into an appropriate container. Of course, you always want to make sure you're doing that. Empty it safely. This is going to drain. You got your drain plug, and there is a crush gasket on here. You should only use it once. We'll take a look, and we'll find a new one to put on there. But we're going to let this go ahead and drain and drip until it is totally empty. Then we'll go ahead and take care of the filter. So a couple things, just to kind of recap. This is the rear of the vehicle. On the left side is the engine oil. This is your engine. This here on the right side is your transmission. Over back here on the reverse, you have your oil filter. So super easy access. You don't need a lift, even though I've got a lift here. You don't need a lift. You could definitely do this on the ground. Easy peasy, no problem. So yeah, go ahead and let that drain, and we will tighten that up, loosen this up, and get them all changed. While that's draining, just wanted to remind the importance of changing your crush gasket. This one here is probably a genuine gasket, or I don't know, something similar. It's definitely fibrous, and it fits really nice. It fits so nice that it didn't want to come off. So if you run into that, just a little poke with a screwdriver or a pick. I have an assortment of copper crush gaskets. This one fits perfectly. So it's just like the other one did. Looks great, feels great. So that's what we're going to use. But we will be using a genuine oil filter. There's the part number again, 15400 PLM A02. I think you can get this or equivalent filters pretty much anywhere. I think this is the same filter they used on like the Honda Fit and all kinds of stuff. So you don't necessarily need to go and order from Japan for that kind of stuff. I ordered these from Will Powered. Came up when I did some searching. Seems to be a good dude in the community. So, give him a shot, because all these 3 filters came together. It's probably a little bit more than sourcing it on its own, but honestly, it was super easy and super quick. So that's what we've got. There's some other part numbers for other stuff. But all right, this is about done draining. So we will go ahead and pop this back on, pop this back off, and go from there. All right, so I went ahead and I've started to get this loose with this oil filter wrench. There are a lot of different ways to get an oil filter off. But for my money, having this tool is really easy. I don't like fighting with strap wrenches. These are cheap. It's like $5, $6, $10 probably now. At the parts store, you can get a whole set of them for like $50 for all different kind of cars if you work on different stuff. Worth investing in and having. So I'm gonna let this drain a little bit off. Once that stops, we'll take it off the rest of the way by hand. And then we will go ahead and get that other filter oiled up and ready. We'll show that here in a second. Also want to show, while we've got the time, we went ahead and torqued this to spec. There's that copper ring. Everything's good there, nice and tight. We'll make a mark on it just to note. We're back on the bench. What we've got here is our new filter. We've got a little cap full of oil, because what we want to do is we want to lubricate this rubber O-ring. It needs to be nice and lubricated. And then the manual talks about lubricating like here a little bit, which I think is kind of interesting. I've never done that before. I know a lot of people like to fill these. Personally, I'm against it, so this is definitely some opinion here. You can do whatever you want. But the way that the filter works is this is what's coming out after it's being filtered. So if you put unfiltered oil, I don't know, it probably doesn't really matter all that much, but also you don't need to fill these. They pressurize pretty quickly, and even if you've drained all your oil, there's still enough lubrication in your engine to run for a couple seconds. At least that's been my success with all my stuff. If you did want to fill it for some reason, you'd want to make sure you fill by these little holes in the outside, because that's actually going to go through the filter media. The other thing that you want to think about before you put this guy on is you want to make sure that this is nice and clean. We went ahead and wiped it a second ago. You also want to make sure that the O-ring is not stuck on there. Sometimes it'll come off of these. This one here, you can see O-ring's still there. You want to make sure the O-ring is not there, because that will cause leaks and failure. But then all you're going to do is just kind of spin it on. And these don't have to be crazy tight. I use a wrench to take them off, but very rarely do I use a wrench to put them back on. These do have a torque spec. I think it's something like 18 foot-pounds or something like that. It's not very much. So I just kind of give it as much as I can by hand. And then a little bit more if I can. And that should be good. So yeah, there you go. Oil filter installed, drain plug installed. We'll go ahead and clean up this little bit of residual mess from what happened. And then we will let the car down and fill it with oil. We are at the back of the van. Again, we've got the oil door open. That's the little actuation right there. Really easy to miss. This is just, just like any oil cap, comes right off. We'll stick it back here. Got my big funnel. This one with the angle, I'm gonna need two hands to do this. But if you got like a longer, skinnier one that would fit down in there, you do it with one hand. So what we're gonna do, I'll shut this off to fill it. But I got my oil ready. Now this is a 5-quart jug, which is 4.73 liters. Now the factory manual calls for 2.5 liters if you're not doing a filter change, or 3 liters if you're doing a filter change. So here's what I figured is, if I have 4.73 and I'm going to have 2 left, that means I'll use 2.73 liters of oil to put in there if I drain it to that mark there. And that will give me, within kind of the margin of error. Of course, there's always a little bit of oil left over. So what I can do is I can fill it. I can then start it and run it, check the oil level. If it needs a little bit of a top up, which I'm guessing it probably will, right? Because we're not putting all 3 in. Then I can add a little bit, but that way I'm not overfilling on the first go. All right, so I'm gonna put this down, fill it up. We'll go from there. Right, next up is the engine air filter. Looks like that's the part number, 17220-PZ3-003. This is branded. Looks like he's got at least these boxes produced. What's neat, it's definitely not the same. So my guess is that we're gonna pop the cap, there'll be a wing nut, and then this will slide over it, and then wing nut there. So let's go take a look. So there's going to be a couple of clips, and we just pull down on those. 1, 2, 3, and then that's going to come off. Wiggle it out of there. I'll go ahead and blow that out and kind of wipe it out off camera at least. Put that there. And then, yep, look at that wing nut. Go ahead and remove the wing nut. This is super, super, super easy. And then that pops off. And you can see this one definitely needed to be changed. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm gonna clean inside of there as well as inside the housing. Then we'll go ahead and put the new one on, and that'll be that. I went ahead and did a quick little wipe with a Clorox wipe just to get some of the dust out. I did the same thing up in here. Went ahead and installed the filter. It did take 2 hands to do. Needed to give it a little bit of a push because that rubber grommet in the middle is nice and tight, which is great. You just got to give it a good push. So we'll tighten up this wing nut. And that's there. The other thing you'll notice, there's a little inlet there. There's a little inlet there. Of course, those will line up. So let's see if I got that in there. Yep, lines up just like that. And then you would come up here and grab these clips and then kind of get them back into place. So I'm gonna do that with 2 hands just for funsies, but you guys get the point. Super simple job. Just took a couple minutes, easy to do yourself. Figured I would at least show one of these in case anybody's confused. So you have a long end and a short end. The short end is what goes up. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna pop it up here and get the long end in, and then kind of give it a good push. And then you do that 2 more times for those. Pretty easy, but I think I could understand how maybe somebody would be confused. The other thing that I would probably do would be to encourage you not to do this in like super, super cold, because this is plastic. This is plastic. It's all very old. It's at least 25, right? If it's over here. So I think I would do it maybe in the warmer months, or do it indoors where it's warmer and it's had time. Because I feel like just in the little bit that I've done with this, like it feels like it could be pretty brittle. So there's a little tip. Don't make your day worse, because this is an easy job and that would really make it suck. So anyway, I think that is about it. Got the oil in it. I need to start it. Of course, I did end up going with a longer funnel. Take that out. I have a fuel filter, and I'll poke around. I might mess with that. But I might also edit this part out.